Tonight, we turn to Los Angeles, where a planned immigration enforcement operation erupted into violence. Federal agents, including a U.S. Marshal, attempted a targeted traffic stop on Carlitos Ricardo Parias, a 44-year-old undocumented immigrant from Mexico. The operation was a coordinated effort by ICE and Homeland Security to apprehend Parias, who had previously escaped custody. What was meant to be a controlled arrest quickly spiraled out of control. Gunfire broke out, leaving both the U.S. Marshal and Parias wounded. The incident unfolded in a busy part of the city, shocking residents and drawing attention to the risks of federal immigration enforcement. Both men were rushed to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. This confrontation underscored the escalating tensions over immigration policy in Los Angeles. For many, it was a stark reminder of the dangers faced by both law enforcement and those targeted in these operations. As the day unfolded, the shooting became a flashpoint in the national debate over immigration enforcement and the role of federal agents in local communities. The city was left with more questions than answers. Federal agents boxed in Parias's Toyota Camry, using their vehicles to prevent escape, a standard tactic for high-risk arrests. Instead of surrendering, Parias allegedly rammed the agents' cars, escalating the situation instantly. Law enforcement viewed the vehicle as a deadly weapon, prompting agents to open fire. Gunshots rang out in the chaos, and both the U.S. Marshal and Parias were hit, one in the hand, the other in the elbow. Emergency services arrived quickly, transporting both to the hospital. The swift escalation from a traffic stop to a shootout highlighted the unpredictable dangers of these operations. The agent's goal was a safe arrest, but the outcome was a violent standoff. With the immediate threat contained, the focus shifted to investigation and medical care. The incident left the community shaken and law enforcement on high alert. It was a vivid example of how quickly routine enforcement can turn deadly. The aftermath would spark intense scrutiny and debate. The city braced for the fallout. Federal officials quickly defended the agent's actions, calling Parias's use of his car an assault on law enforcement. Acting U.S. Attorney Bill Essayli warned that using vehicles as weapons would be met with force and prosecution. The FBI launched an investigation into the shooting, standard for incidents involving federal officers. Parias was charged with assault on a federal officer and scheduled for a court appearance. Homeland Security officials blamed local sanctuary city policies for emboldening resistance and increasing risks to agents. They called for an end to rhetoric they said encouraged violence against ICE. Federal authorities unified behind the message that their agents acted lawfully and out of necessity. The official narrative aimed to justify the use of force and preempt criticism. News of the shooting spread rapidly, sparking protests outside the hospital where both men were treated. Demonstrators voiced anger at federal law enforcement and concern for the injured immigrant. Local officials, including Mayor Karen Bass, condemned the violence and called for investigations into federal tactics. The incident became a rallying point for critics of aggressive immigration enforcement. Just days earlier, the LA County Board of Supervisors had declared a state of emergency over federal raids, citing widespread fear in immigrant communities. The shooting seemed to validate those concerns, intensifying the debate over sanctuary policies. Federal officials blamed local resistance for endangering agents, while city leaders argued they were protecting residents from overreach. The clash exposed deep divisions between local and federal authorities. The city was left more polarized than ever. The confrontation became a symbol of the broader struggle over immigration enforcement in America. The October 21st shooting was part of a renewed wave of federal immigration raids, reignited by a recent Supreme Court ruling. Los Angeles, a sanctuary city, had tried to shield its residents, but federal authorities saw local policies as obstacles. The county's state of emergency declaration highlighted the fear and disruption caused by the raids. The violent confrontation was more than an isolated incident. It was a symptom of the ongoing conflict between federal law and local sanctuary policies. As the FBI investigates and Parias faces federal charges, Los Angeles remains at the center of a national debate. The event illustrated the real-world consequences of polarized immigration policies. For many, it was a warning of what can happen when political battles play out on city streets. The city, and the country, are left searching for answers.